What is up, guys? Zan from the Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over my round one matchup against Slim Ghost in the most recent Friday Night Football, taking a look at the zone knockout meta against the Trips tight end. But before we get into the video, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys take the time to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads coming your way here on the Zan Madden YouTube channel. If you guys want to take your game to the next level of Madden 21, check out my strategy site, gridirongameplans.gg. Gridiron Game Plans is your one-stop source for all things competitive Madden. Every week in our Vault update, we take a look at the meta, or the most effective tactics available being used by pro players on the MCS circuit, breaking down not only how, but why the pros do what they do, and most importantly, how you can counter those metas when you face them in online head-to-head gameplay. On top of that, your subscription also includes any and every offensive and defensive game plan released on the website while your subscription is active. So head over to gridirongameplans.gg. $9.95 per month unlocks the entire website. Okay, guys, without further ado, this is my first round matchup against Slim Ghost in the most recent Friday Night Football tournament. These are tournaments on the Mutthead TV Twitch channel, $1,000 tournaments every single Friday night. This one was on a Wednesday because of the club series that is going on this weekend. So I actually made it into the second round before I lost to Trey Thomas. A little bit of a spoiler. We are going to do a commentary tomorrow, in fact, for that video, talking about what went wrong, what I could have done better. But in this video, we have a lot to talk about in terms of how the zone knockout meta, in my opinion, I think it is still the best meta in the game in terms of how I look at the long-term outlook of Madden. I understand right now the way the game plays with the 12 AP cap that free one-step aheads is going to be pretty popular, obviously. So this is something that obviously you are going to kind of see for the foreseeable future. But in my opinion, I think once club series is over, I think we'll see a tweak. I think we're going to see one step ahead go up in cost, maybe to 4 or 5 AP, basically limiting the players being able to put 3 of those on the field at the same time is what I would foresee. But I think for the purpose of the MCS Club Series, they're respecting the pro players that have been playing the man coverage meta the entire season. So I kind of think that that is why they're kind of holding out on us. At least that's what I'm speculating. So I really do think that the zone coverage will kind of take over as a popular way of playing defense probably after the club series. Now, me personally, I'm staying in zone coverage. So early in the year, Trips tight end was actually my least favorite offense to face. I struggled getting stops in zone, but this game was an absolute clinic against that particular offensive meta. So right here, I'm on offense after getting a 3 and out. I do run my gun bunch weak offense, which is my first game plan of the year on Gridiron. That is still available for you guys to go check out. I've been adding some content to it. A lot of that content I've been running is in our most recent Vault update that just went out today, January the 28th. So if you guys are watching this right away, it's the last Vault update of January. Obviously, if you guys are watching this down the road in February, March, April, you guys could go back to the January Vault updates to see many of the tweaks that I've made to this offense over the course of the entire season. Now, on the other side, we've got Slim Ghost. Slim Ghost is a Twitch streamer, a avid comp Madden player, very talented guy. I mean, he's made some deep runs on occasion in these tournaments. He's a good player. He knows what he is doing, and he is running the main meta, the nickel 335 wide, mixing in man, mixing in zone. So right here, I use a motion, get a little bit of a man read on this. Saw him follow, and I ended up taking a delay of game. This was actually something that I did a couple of times in this game. I was actually running the stream at the same time. I had Madden Live coming up, so I was a little bit preoccupied with making sure that the music that was playing in the background was appropriate for an EA sponsored drop stream, and I did take a delay of game there. So you know, that was my fault. I had that happen to me a number of times. In fact, I had it happen to me against Trey as well in round number 2. So one of the mistakes that I made was not paying attention to that play clock nearly as closely as I should. Here I go ahead and motion DK Metcalf across the formation. I get a zone read. I didn't see anybody follow him, so I knew right away I could reset my play and go right back to my zone buster, and he blew the coverage. He blew the coverage. Outside zone, bites on my corner route, and I'm able to go up top to Randy Moss for a quick score. So right here, I'm feeling really good. I mean, in tournament style Madden, it is important to get out of the gate very, very quickly, be able to get that stop knowing I've got ball at half. In fact, it was a 3 and out, absolute bag on my first drive. And then I'm able to get the quick strike down the field to get on the board right away, 7-0. 3 plays, 51 yards, only 1:06 off the clock. And I know that I felt really good off of my first defensive drive. So right here, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm in the driver's seat. You know, to me, it feels like he's a little bit shaken. His defense is a little bit, you know, blowing coverages early, not really seeing the field clearly when he's on offense. So I'm going to go right back to what I do, which is I adjust out of cover 4 drop nonstop. This is something that I do. You see close to 10,000 calls in cover 4 drop out of nickel 3-3-5. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. Oh, I drop coverage every play and I don't adjust anything. And the fact is, I adjust very, very heavily to what my opponent's doing. Every little change you make, moving a guy, that changes the target of a run blocker. Now, right here, if I were to go back and have a conversation with Slim Ghost after this game, I would tell him, hey, do you remember on your second drive where you hit me on 1st and 10 for an 8-yard stretch and I really didn't have bodies on the outside? Why did you go away from that? Because that is what gave me the most trouble out of his offense in this entire game. And he really didn't hit back to it enough to make me respect the run game. So I was really able to just kind of key in on his route combos. Here he motions Dorsett across the formation in motion. Looks like he's got a little ghost route, a hitch, and the post route over the middle, and I absolutely bagged this up. This should have been intercepted. Had a bunch of players around the ball, no animation, but you see Prescott 0 of 2. I think zone drops are the most underrated thing in the game that a lot of players do not use, especially with the man coverage meta. When they go to mix in zone, they don't set their drops because they haven't run drops all year. But if you do it correctly, you see you have everything completely shut down. Right here, I am able to pretty well shut down that route combination with the shallow cross, the corner, the Texas route, everything bagged, and I get yet another 3 and out. So things are looking really, really good here at this point as Slim Ghost goes to punt this one away. Slim on his first punt tried to do a little bit of like I would call it kind of like a muff scum kick on the punt. He tried to punt it low so it landed in front of the punt returner at his feet and try to bounce off of him. But fortunately, Tyreek was able to catch it and it gave me great field position before I was able to go on that 3-play drive for 51 yards and a touchdown. So right here, I'm going right back to the well. I motion DK Metcalf across. I get my zone tell. You see, I go back to reset my play because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if there's no one following, that means he's in zone coverage. So now I go to my zone beater, motion him outside, and he's got a hybrid call, pretty nice hybrid call. He had manned some people up individually. So I go ahead and hit my playmaker back across the middle, little spin move with Deion Sanders. Try to do a little hezzy right there, but he sticks me out of bounds. But a nice little gain right there across midfield to the 33. You see that I'm really comfortable. If you guys know my tournament history, I used to play competitively back in, I would say like 10, 11, 12. There wasn't really much of a Madden challenge scene back then. Madden 12 and Madden 13, Virgin Gaming came into the mix after MLG was gone. And I was able to qualify for both the Virgin Gaming Madden Challenge finals in New York City at Terminal 5. I actually finished top 16 in that tournament and lost to Bugs 24 to 21 in the final 16 of that tournament. I actually lost in the final 16 in Vegas the next year, but that's the last time I was ever in a serious tournament. I played in a couple Friday Night Footballs, some regs events. I filled in for some things over the years, but I haven't really been a comp guy in quite a while. You guys know me as somebody that's more of a content guy, a how-to, a tips and tricks guy. When I went back and I watched this game, as I took another delay of game there, talking about what I did on that first drive, I did that a couple times. But when I was watching that game back on the Mutthead TV channel, you know, it was really interesting to me because Boogs had made a really good comment that that kind of resonated with me. He said, you know, Zan's always been a player over the years that has been a lockdown defensive player. No matter the year, he always has defense. But offensively, he has too much of a sense of pride. He's always been the player to play under center. He's always been the player to run the ball, use play action, try to do all kinds of crazy things. But he's never been somebody who runs the meta. And that's true. Boogs and I have always had conversations over the years about why I tend to zig where other people zag in terms of offense. And I always have felt personally like running the meta offensively gives players that play a lot of Madden a template of where to kind of start to stop you when you run a certain formation. I honestly know I'm not the best bunch player in the world, but that doesn't mean that you can't run the formation as a whole. And that kind of stuck out to me. I actually chose Washington for their bunch formation to start the year. I wholeheartedly believe that it was the best bunch formation in the game, along in the same breath as playbooks like Seattle. And obviously West Coast was really popular early in the year. And then obviously it became very well known that flood was such a needed play. So a lot of people went from West Coast into Seattle to have that bunch and bunch tight end. As you guys know, I chose the Washington bunch for the play clear out flanker in. Seattle has a clear out of its own that's called clear out split end out. And both of those plays are very similar in what they do to the defense, both man and zone. It's those clear out plays, in my opinion, are the two best plays in bunch, and you can get the clear out flanker in Washington, which is my favorite playbook. You could also get it in Detroit, which is a book that Skimbo started the year out in when he started playing Madden a little bit later in the season. And then he moved on to Detroit so he could keep that play and add others. Here I'm going to a red zone threat. And one thing I definitely notice is that on all Madden, your red zone throws are high point and accurate. That's something that doesn't happen on all pro. So, you know, I'm kind of getting my first taste of competitive all Madden since the club series, and I wasn't throwing red zone threats back then, so I learned that one the hard way. So we got a little bit of a 3rd and 5 right here. I'm kind of thinking to myself, just be safe. You know, you've got the ball coming up in 4 minutes at half. Your opponent hasn't moved. He's got 2 3 and outs to start the game. Just go ahead and be safe right here. So I called another high point pass. I didn't trust it. His user went there. He sent his spy. I didn't really like what I had, so I just threw the ball away and was content taking a 10-0 lead. Good defense by Slim Ghost. That tells me that he has paid attention to this YouTube channel. He knows that I'm a big fan of the red zone threat. Obviously, I went to attempt that in the back corner of the end zone on the previous down, so it was something he was looking at. I probably need to dial up a different red zone play in that situation. Maybe go to a spacing, you know, a curl route type of setup, because I've got red zone threat on Randy Moss. He's going to catch a one-on-one curl if he has body positioning. So, you know, you live and learn in that scenario, but it was a, you know, pretty good drive right there coming off of yet another stop. And I was just content to take the points. Like I said, he hadn't moved. He hadn't gotten a first down. I think he didn't even really have a completion at this point through 2 drives. So I'm content to just take that lead and punt it back to him. So right here with 3 minutes and 53 seconds left in the first half, what I'm thinking to myself is really 2 things. Make him, if he's going to score, have a long drive, and 2, make sure that it ends in 3 at the most. So right here I'm playing for you know, point prevention. I'm okay with him taking, you know, 2 to 3 minutes of this time to get in the red zone, as long as that's where it stays. Right here, he's looking for the deep crosser. He's got those underneath routes. I'm all over it. My zone drops profile that I've had on Gridiron Game Plans for the last month or so has really locked up the bunch meta and also the trips tight end meta. So I'm not really fiddling with too much beyond my unique zone drops profile that I'm using. I am making some hybrid coverages. Sometimes I split field, as you guys saw with almost 10,000 play calls in cover 4. Obviously, I'm not playing cover 4 straight up every play. Sometimes it's cover 6, sometimes it's cover 9. I make adjustments based off emotion. So you see, I'm all over everything. And this was a good read. He had to throw a low ball right there. Obviously, if he throws the ball to the sideline, I've got a zone there breaking on it. If he throws the ball up, I've got a deep zone breaking on it. And my user was kind of in a decent spot as well. So he had to throw that low ball, and that was a really good timing read. If he was a second later, that probably ends up picked. Another great thing about 3-3-5 normal, the way I run it, is inside zone does not pop. As you saw right there, Roy Williams was able to shoot that gap. A lot of players like to do the stop and go inside zone out of trip sets. Again, right here, I'm forcing him to take the flat, and that's a good read. Right there on 2nd and 12, he takes the flat. A lot of players love to throw the hitches, but they like to ignore their flats. So I'm content giving that flat away and making you fight for yards after the catch, throwing it outside, you know, 1 to 2 yards off the line of scrimmage, and then have to run for the rest of it. Here on 3rd and 2, I'm thinking narrow. So, you know, I'm thinking that crossing route with the post behind it, I give up the flat again right there. I'm making him show me that he is going to take his flats. And again, that falls in line with the ideology of making him take time to have this. With 4 minutes to go in the half, I know I've got ball at half. That puts me in a spot where if I can make his drive get inside the 2-minute warning, all I have to do is pick up 1 first down to make certain that he doesn't see the ball again in the first half. And that is exactly what I'm able to do right here. Of course, and if I score, he could see the ball again, but that's fine with me. I'll trade points for him having another possession the way I'm playing defense. Right there, yet another great defensive call. I was able to make him ditch the ball out of bounds. He's struggling to move. I could feel it. I can feel that he's clamped. Again, his route combinations don't feel comfortable. He had a drag and a hitch in the same spot. That's an easy lurk. The corner route to the tight end was covered. He had to throw it underneath and take, a very little amount of yards right there. So 3rd and 5. Again, I'm just protecting against the inside zone, giving him the idea that he's not going to be able to go, deep there. And then right here, he hits a good read. He actually took a curl over there on the wide side of the field. And right here, I'm thinking, okay, we're inside a minute. Now it's extremely, extremely important that I do not allow a touchdown. I cannot allow him to throw a touchdown in this spot. I think he missed the read right there. I think if he lets that rip, he's going to get a possession catch in the back of the end zone. But one thing that I'm really big on with my zone coverage meta is height. I like to have those flat defenders be guys that are very tall. You notice I've got Calvin Johnson at outside linebacker at 6'5" with the mid-zone knockout. You notice I've got Richard Sherman in the other flat at 6'3" with the mid-zone knockout. They are so tall, but unfortunately, height doesn't matter when you blow the coverage, and that's exactly what I did there. I did exactly what I could not afford to do. I gave him a smooth corner route to the outside, and he put together a great drive. I did what I wanted to do up until that last play. I made him work so hard. It was ugly, right? And that's no disrespect to Slim Ghost. That's just, I played really good defense. 10 plays, 75 yards, but all it takes is one play, and I blew a coverage right there, and he's able to get on the board. So right here, knowing that I've got ball at half, what I'm telling myself is let's not get greedy. As one great user who is casting this says, that's his famous line: you do not win games going into half, but you can sure as hell lose them. And that is exactly what was in my mind right here. I thought to myself, we've got to play safe. Take the easy read, take what's given. So right here, after my first 2 drives, he switches up defense. He comes out in the big nickel over G. I had given him a lot of trouble. I blew the top off of his 3-3-5 on my first drive. I big played him once in the second drive. He wasn't feeling comfortable. Right here, I regret playmakering that route over the middle. I had a check down for 6 yards. I could have thrown that little drag underneath, maybe even turned it upfield and picked up 8 yards and stopped the clock. Instead, I playmakered it back over the middle. Now, right here, I'm thinking this is a blitz. I really am thinking this is a blitz. So right here, I'm trying to get myself in a spot where I've got this little stop and go route. I call that slip screen once I read that blitz, and I dump it out in the flat, and I really butchered that. If I didn't run up the crack of my offensive lineman, I think that's a touchdown. I audibled into that slip screen at the perfect time after originally having a like a load up play with that Z spot and go set up, and unfortunately I just butchered it with my user. Definitely not the strength of my game, but it was a really good call. Really good call. I just didn't do what I needed to do after the catch. So here, again, he's in the big nickel over G. I'm thinking, okay, I just torched him on the blitz. Probably not blitzing again. I go ahead and call my load up play. It's a 2-man rush. I'm looking to the corner. I could have thrown that corner. Instead, I didn't take a risk. Again, thinking to myself, if I throw a pick on the sideline at midfield with 10 seconds to go in the first half, that's going to be trouble. So I check it down. I check it down thinking to myself, well, I've got 2 plays to get in field goal range. I don't want to throw a ball that has any chance of getting picked right there. Let's just take what's given. So knowing that he's in a soft zone, especially after he saw that corner route open, I knew he was going to go ahead and deep half and probably play some zone drops, which told me I was probably going to have a little baby corner on the sideline. So I motioned Metcalf out, and I see him break to the sideline and just possession catch and get out of bounds with 43 seconds left. And I thought to myself, if this is the defense he's going to play, he's probably going to play it again. I call the play, the same play, and I flip it. And what I noticed is that he called his defensive play right away, and I got a zone read right away. That tells me he did not change his zone drop. So I go right back to the well on this play. Gonna motion Metcalf out. I probably should have quick snapped it sooner if we're being truthful. And he gave me the same coverage: deep half, sideline zone, possession catch, fall down, timeout, and I've secured 3 points going into the half. Absolutely massive play right there to be able to come back and get 3 in 38 seconds in competitive Madden. It's a lot tougher to move quickly down the field in this year's game. So getting 3 right there is massive, knowing I have the ball coming out. I've got a chance with a score coming out of half to basically put this game away, especially with how well I've been playing on defense, how his drives have been long. He had 2 3-and-outs and a 10-play drive for 75 yards where I blew the coverage and I knew exactly what I did wrong. I'm feeling like I'm in the driver's seat as long as I don't blow this game on offense. So coming out here in the second half, I'm thinking to myself, really 2 things. Let's get on the board. 3 puts me up 2 possessions. 7 puts me up 2 possessions. I probably would go for 2 if I score a touchdown anyways. Let's just go ahead and have a drive, run our offense. Don't necessarily throttle down, but, you know, do what you do. You know, run the pace of play that you've been running this entire game. It's been working, and you're going to be able to, you know, continue to run your offense. He hasn't done a whole lot to stop me. I've been moving quickly and efficiently. So right here, I'm not a big fan of really being on in between the hash marks. This is something a lot of bunch players talk about. Bunch is such a hash dependent offense that when I'm starting 1st and 10 from my own 25 in between the hashes, I'm not going to take a risk of a zone breaking a different way than what I've labbed. So you may view that as a bad play call, but a lot of players are willing to just run the ball to get to a hash, which is what I do here. Being that this is the first year I've ever been in bunch, that is something that's resonated with me over the years, commentating with Boogs over the years at Friday Night Football when I used to work at Mutthead. Something always being on a hash. And right here, I caught him in man coverage. I knew exactly what he had given me. He hadn't been able to run zone at any point in this game on me with any success. And I caught him in the zone read. I saw the guy slide as I motioned my guy across. I knew it was a 0 blitz, and I hit him with a little route swap over the top right there. You know, when you're facing the 1 step ahead meta, which is geeked on all Madden, you have to have man beaters. You have to fight the fire with fire. So I was able to, you know, pop him up top with that and go up 19-7. So right here, I'm thinking to myself, let's go ahead and go for 2. I tried to do some subs to audible from a gun with 2 backs into the pistol weak, and I ran out of time. So I just came straight out in it. He stayed in the over G, and I hit the triple option. Derrick Henry, my favorite 2-point conversion run out of the Washington book is that triple option out of the pistol weak. And I am completely in the driver's seat here, up 21-7. Now, what I'm thinking right here, in this particular spot, a lot of players would try to play defense as more of a bend but don't break. That is something that is definitely in my mind. But I'm actually thinking right here, let's try to get this ball back. Right here, he's had some drives that have been frustrating. 2 3-and-outs, a 10-play drive, 75 yards, and his first down play call told me all I needed to know right here. He's struggling. So he tries to get himself on schedule with a first down run. He does pick up, 4 yards. But that's not enough to keep him running the ball, in my opinion. Right here, I'm content to let him bait that inside zone as well. He goes with a little stutter route, goes in the flat. And again, I'm giving him that flat. I'm going to give him, a 2-yard throw. I'm not going to set my zone drops, underneath to 5 or 0 to be able to counter that. And then that opens up out routes and curl routes on the sideline. So again, I'm just telling you, you're going to have to take your check down, and eventually players get bored of it. You saw right there, he had a wide open Texas route over the middle, and he missed it as TJ Watt, that new team of the year, TJ Watt, had a really, really big game for me, especially in the second half, caused a lot of problems for the offense. You saw right there, he lit up again, and it forced him to dump his check down reads. So now I've got him yet again in 3rd down and long. This offense, the strips tight end offense, is not a bad offense. This is the same meta that you guys see online all the time. And Slim runs it well. He definitely does run it well. Here he's motioning across, so I go right back to my crossing route post follow, and he actually ran a different route combo, and he threw the corner into coverage. Again, I had guys all over that. The entire mid-zone knockout meta lighting up on that play, and it's a big 4th down and 13. But as I told you guys, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, 4th down and 13. I'm thinking, do I want to set my zone depths back? Do I want to bring some pressure right here? So I'm setting up, my call, and you see me click onto Xavier Howard. This is a little thing that I noticed. He is sending everyone out on routes, which tells me I can manual rush. He doesn't have an identifier, and I'm just going to bring Xavier Howard around the end, off the edge, and knowing that it's 4th down and a lot, he's not going to throw a check down in that spot, and I was able to pick up a huge sack. For me personally, there's no point in having a running back table route on 4th and 13. It's going to serve no purpose. Really going to serve no purpose. He's better off blocking in that spot. But I hadn't blitzed all game. So, I knew that was stealing, like stealing candy from a baby right there in that spot. Again, in between the hashes, I call the base, get outside, actually pick up a pretty good chunk of yards right there, 7 yards, get to the left hash, and I know that this ball game is over at this point. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, 2 minutes and 19 seconds, I'm up in field goal range by 2 possessions. He hasn't moved. He hasn't really had a good drive yet, with the exception of the 10-play, 75-yard, where, again, I blew that coverage. I definitely blew that coverage. I made him do exactly what I wanted him to do, and then I screwed it up. So I'm nothing but confident in this spot to go ahead and try to milk this. You see right here on 3rd and 1, kind of thinking, do I want to go into that pistol triple option thing? So I go back into the gun doubles offset weak, where I have a running back lined up in the slot. I'm calling a little auto motion, buck sweep type of play, and I audible into the triple option with Bo and do the fullback handoff and pick up the first down. So again, going right back to the 2-point conversion play, but audibling out of a gun set to do it, making him call something that kind of respects the pass, a spread concept, and then audibling my slot receiver into the backfield. Right here, I'm wondering if he's going to play the RPO. He did. He called a man coverage call. You saw that the slot corner blitzed off the edge, but there was a safety in man coverage. That told me right there that he was in man with that tell. Right here, I just decided to go back to another random call because I'm trying to work the clock towards the 4th quarter. And I call an 0-1 trap right here. Again, not a great call against a pinch front, but you guys know how 0-1 trap is this year. He actually shot the gap really well. If he doesn't shoot that gap, I'm probably going off left guard, following my trap blocker, and walking in for 6. But again, a good gap shoot. And now I'm going to be able to run one more play to take us to the 4th quarter. You see that clock and play clock difference is only about 6 seconds. So I'm gonna let this tick down. Normally, if this were a 1-possession game, I would be throwing in this spot. But being that I'm up 14 and I can take a field goal in this spot, this is a run down, especially because it gets you to the 4th quarter. So I'm going to go ahead and call the inside zone, and I'm content to just take 3. 24/7 is basically a death knell in competitive Madden, especially with how good the defense has been playing. And I know at this point, I'm going to be up 17 with 5 minutes to go. I'm going to set my zone depths all the way back to Narnia. They're going to be playing really, really deep. I'm not going to be giving up corner routes if I can help it. I'm not going to be giving up crosser routes if I can help it. And I'm not going to be giving up 1-play touchdown formulas either. You're going to be throwing flats. You're going to be throwing table routes. You're going to be throwing hitches underneath if you're going to move the ball, and you're going to take at least 2 minutes to score. That's kind of the mindset. Again, a very similar mindset to the mindset I had with 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the first half before I blew that coverage. But again, this time with far more security in the point differential in this ball game. So come right back out in the trips tight end. I'm coming right back out in mine. I'm going to overshift. I'm trying to get TJ Watt free off this edge right here. I know that he's not going to run the ball, so I don't have to pinch my linebackers. It allows me to play better spread. But like I said, I'm not giving up a 1-play score. As soon as I saw no vertical route to the left side of the field, I knew there was a skinny post coming. That's something that you just learn from facing the meta over and over and over. So I was able to take that away. Again, right here, I'm thinking I will trade any amount of yards you want to run inside zone for in exchange for 20 to 30 seconds. So I'm not going to pinch my D-line. I'm going to tell TJ Watt. I'm going to tell Lawrence Taylor. I'm going to tell my JJ Watt or my Montez Sweat, who can spy at nose tackle, go get him. This is the time in the game that we worked for. I want you guys to go get the quarterback. And, if they run the ball, they run the ball. No big deal. Little 2-man rush, LT, double teamed. Again, he has to throw those drags. Right here, I'm a little bit frustrated that I've given up 2 chunk yardage plays underneath, thinking, did I set my zone depths too deep? But I thought to myself, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and double Mabel. So we're going to play a short sideline zone and a deep sideline zone on both sides. He runs the inside zone, and again, that's what I'm talking about. Like if you want 4 yards for 20 seconds, down by 17, you can have it. This time I show him the pinch line again. Thinking, is he going to run the ball again? Probably not, but I wasn't going to just give it to him back-to-back downs. Again, he has to throw the little check down. Does a good job getting out of bounds there. I am irritated with myself there with the user. I could have cut him off, made sure that clock was stopped. You saw right here that I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take my hooks and move them back down to 5. I don't want him throwing that hitch. I want him to have to playmaker and prolong the play. Again, right here, he comes in motion. I'm thinking, post route, crossing route from tight end and the motion receiver. That's exactly what I bait. He has nothing open. I send my spy. Montez Sweat goes after him. He has to ditch it out of bounds. Again, good defense. You see right here, 11 of 17, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. And most of that is from me just setting my zone depths back and letting the clock dictate how he runs his offense. So here again, he's looking for that deep crosser. I have my Babel set on the short side of the field. Doesn't have either route open on the sideline. And TJ Watt, again, getting to do what I acquired him to do. Rush the passer in the second half with a lead. 3rd down and 16. So Slim brings Dorsett back in motion. Again, I'm thinking to myself, if this is the motion, tight end crosser, Dorsett on a post, table route to the running back. Kind of a similar concept. Tight end was on a drag. And right there, that should have been picked. Megatron with the zone knockout, breaks on the ball, and swats it down. If you guys know from my Twitch stream, I talk about new card smell. I joke about it, you know, like everyone says, new car smell. You get those cards and they play out of their mind early on. TJ Watt, for instance, first day that I've got him, he's only a day old with the team of the year. That Megatron back from Christmas, he would have picked that off about a month ago, but instead I settle for a swat. But most importantly right here, good decision by Slim Ghost. He knows it's a 3-possession game. A lot of pro players would probably chase that, thinking, you know, odds are slim. Let's just go ahead and play for the touchdown. If not, we'll tap out. He lives to fight another day. He knows that, you know, I could throttle down. I throttled down on my last drive. Maybe he gets the ball back quickly, and if he can score, he's got a shot. But I'm thinking that in the back of my head too. And I'm thinking to myself, what did he do late in that drive when I was throttling down, kind of slowing myself down? And what was that? He went to man coverage. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, there's no chance, especially early on in the ball game, I was able to hit the one-play score against zone. I chunk yardaged him on my second drive and settled for 3. He got a good red zone stop. And then I was able to, you know, hit the zone on the 3rd drive when he went to over G. And then when I throttled down on my 4th drive, that was when he went to some man coverage in over G. You also remember that I was able to do a little man swap on him in that first half as well. Here again, I run the base, I'm on a hash, and I do a terrible job of getting to the hash mark. So this next down, I'm going to actually be just a smidge inside the right hash. I'm very, very irritated with myself right here. So here I'm kind of looking at the clock and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is probably a rundown, most likely a rundown. Throwing an incomplete pass counts as a timeout for him in this spot. And basically he's going to need 5 or 6 timeouts technically to get back in this ball game. So I don't want to give him one in the form of an incomplete pass. So this is a rundown, 100 out of 100 times. I'm able to get outside and pick up a decent chunk of yardage, making it 3rd down and 7. But he uses the timeout. He uses the timeout to save, you know, 7 seconds instead of 30, which I'm not sure I agreed with. But again, he ran that man coverage there. So I know right here, I see the guy follow, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got a touchdown here. I'm going to go right back to the vault tip that is uploaded right now. You guys go check it on Gridiron. I hit him with a little man swap, and Dion is going to fall into the end zone. Just walk into the end zone for the 1-play score. Now, Mutthead had actually cut away from me at this point on the feature, but I wanted to show out a little bit with that man coverage swap. Again, I get irrationally tilted at the 1 step ahead meta. I personally think it's the most brainless thing we've ever seen in Madden. So man coverage, when people put it on the field, it's like, okay, well, here you go. I'm going to do something equally as brainless. Let's get back to that zone coverage chess match. I feel like I'm thinking on defense. I feel like my opponents who run man coverage aren't thinking on defense. So I'm not going to think on offense to counter it. And I went straight at him. You know, if this were a Mutt head-to-head seasons game or even weekend league, probably not something I'd do. But if something's legal, as we saw in the Lions clubs with J-Wall in competitive Madden, you've got to be willing to put your pride aside and do what you've got to do to win a ball game. Because Lord knows, if I were to call man coverage, these players would do it back to me. And that's the way you have to treat it. So, you know, it's all over but the crying right here. And I say that facetiously. You know, Slim is nothing but a respectful person. You know, he and I exchanged words after the game, you know, pleasantries after the game, and said GG. He admitted that he was a little bit nervous. He said that, you know, early on in the game, he wasn't feeling himself. And I told him that I noticed him start to kind of settle in offensively in the 3rd quarter, but it's really, really tough to settle in offensively when, you know, your opponent is running 25 and 30 yard drops on the sidelines. It's easy to look good throwing 10-yard routes, you know, down by a lot. So, you know, I kind of felt like, you know, if this were a tight game, I felt like the defense was really there. If I had been struggling on offense and this was a, you know, a 14-10 ball game, I really feel like I would have been in a great spot regardless here. But, you know, we actually came out pretty good in this game. High octane on both sides. Again, I'm content to let him have a drag right here. With 1 minute 4 seconds left, you just know this is this is just repetition for Slim at this point. It's over. I'm going to be moving on to the second round for a matchup with Trey Thomas. Now, I am going to be doing that video tomorrow here on the channel. Again, I've already kind of spoiled it for you guys. I did lose that game, but I think there was much to learn. I think there was much to learn from reviewing the tape on that game, both offensively and defensively. So I'm actually really excited. I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that only post their wins. You know, I don't want to be that guy when it comes to tournament Madden. So I'm going to go ahead and post my loss. You see right here, I just bring that user rush off the edge. I'm just trying to force a turnover so I can kneel this ball out here at this point. But I definitely want to talk about what I did wrong, because I don't think it's fair when content creators only post their successes. I think that it's fair for them to post their failures too. If they're a commentary, if they do commentaries, you make sure to be humble and post when you lose as well in a big game. Now, of course, I'm not just going to go post some random loss from a weekend league. It's not that important, but you know, I thought that game against Trey presented some teaching opportunities and some learning opportunities for myself as well. So if you guys like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, make sure you guys drop those below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all the support on the channel lately, guys. You guys have been awesome. I think we're pushing 6,000 subs if we're not there already on the YouTube channel. Again, starting this back from scratch last year in, I want to say, roughly March. So we'll be coming up on 1 year of this channel here in pretty short order. But you guys have been very, very supportful, not only here on the channel, but also on Gridiron Game Plans. And again, if you guys were impressed with any of the offense and defense, it is all transparent. I'm 100% honest with everything that I run. It's not a website where you're ever going to have the people that you're paying money to teach you the game say, hey, sorry, I'm going to be late with an update this week because I am labbing for something. It drives me nuts when I see my competitors do that. You know, there's some great Madden players out there, but when it comes to providing content for a price, I don't personally find it acceptable when a player says, you know, I'm not going to teach you this week because I have to play in a tournament. Now, for me personally, sorry about that, as I had the audio kick on right there, but you know, for me personally, when people do that, it really leaves a sour taste in my mouth, because you know, I've never missed a deadline. You know, going back to when I work at Playbook, and obviously here at Gridiron, I have never ever missed a deadline, and that would never ever be an excuse for me personally. Here, as we're gonna go ahead and wrap this ball game up. So that'll do it. Get a nice little 31-10 victory over Slim Ghost in round number 1, setting us up with a matchup against Trey Thomas in round number 2. You guys can follow me on my Twitch as well, twitch.tv/ZanMadden. Again, guys, like that video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys with our next video tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.